Hey, Amy,
Yeah, Juan.
give me that beat.
It's Baseball Shangri-La with Amy Cuevas and Juan Ramirez.
What's up, party people? Welcome to another episode of Baseball Shangri-La. She is Amy Cuevas, and I am Juan Ramirez. Let's get some business out of the way. Okay, guys, if you guys are listening on the audio version of the podcast, if you want to help us grow this show, what would really help is not only if you rate the show, but also subscribe to the show and then write a review. When you guys do all that kind of stuff, other people end up discovering the show. So if you really are feeling generous and you want to help us grow the show, that would be very beneficial to us. If you're watching us on YouTube and you want to help us grow the show, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Okay. Also, like our videos, leave us comments. When you like the video, it's a notification. Then other people will describe us, and I feel like some of you will discover us. Excuse me. I feel like that's what's been happening in the past couple episodes because Amy, our last two episodes, we saw an uptick on viewership on YouTube. So I cannot thank you guys enough for doing that.
I think it's amazing, and also we got notified that we are ranked 8th in the UK, so not only on the US side of things, but across the pond. So thank you to everybody who's listening to us and commenting and reaching out. You guys are amazing.
That is a very good call out. Thank you very much, Amy. For those of you listening or you're watching the show, yeah, believe it or not, Baseball Shangri-La is the 8th most popular baseball podcast in the United Kingdom. So we love all our United Kingdom listeners. Uh, it's just, we can't thank you enough. So make sure you guys are following us on social media on X. You can follow us on BB Shangri-La on Instagram, Threads, and Twitch. You can follow us on Baseball Shangri-La. We, as I said, we don't have a definitive schedule, but when we drop content, the social media is the best way for you guys to find. We are going to make a concerted effort, and hopefully it pans out this way. I think we're going to try to give you guys content every day this week. That is the goal. Whether we get there or not, that is fantastic.
Fingers crossed. I will say this too. Juan is extremely creative and talented. And if you guys are following on the socials, you will see all of his amazing videos that he posts, whether he is, what's your word? I always want to say meandering,
Perambulating. I'm perambulating.
perambulating, or he's just getting creative with some of the content. His videos, I know for me, they make me laugh out loud. So you guys will also catch that if you guys are following us too.
Before we start the show, I do want to get into base running blunders. We start every show with our base running blunders, or when we correct any mistakes that we made on previous shows. I have a base running blunder.
So do I.
Okay, so I hope it's not the same one. Maybe Amy and I should discuss this before we go on the show, but here's my base running blunder. You tell me. So the correct pronunciation is, oh, okay, so it is. All right, you say it.
It's Gothier
Yes, thank
for
you.
Austin.
That Austin Gothier, I think at one point we did say Gothier, but we just kept going back and forth and be like, is it Gothier? Is it Gautier? So yes,
We out fancied ourselves and then just kind of second guessed where we were on his name, but it is Gothier. So there you go, Austin.
that was the only base running blunder that we have. So I'm very proud of us. I also want to take the time to thank our friends at Campeon Club. Campeon Club gave us a shout out, is help promoting Baseball Shangri-La, and I can't thank them enough for doing that. I got my Jaime Jarrin Leyenda shirt from Campeon Club. I got to wear it on Jaime Jarrin's last game at Dodger Stadium. I was sitting in the loge section, just rocking it. So I can't thank them enough. Campeon Club, they have clothing. They have some really neat stuff. Follow them on social media. They have a shirt, I think, referring to the fact that everybody hates the Dodgers. They have some other stuff there. Check them out. Give them a follow. They're great paisanos, and they have been very kind to Baseball Shangri-La. So I just wanted to take some time to give them a shout out. Again, it's Campeon Club. Look them up on Instagram. Amy, before we get into the show, I do need to share something with you. So, and I want to get your opinion on this, and I want to get our listeners, our viewers' opinions on this. So, this past weekend, I went up to Clovis, California. For those of you who are not familiar with Clovis, California, it's in Central California. It's like right next door to Fresno. And I'm not going to make any jokes about Central California because I was born in Central California. I was born in Merced, California, which is about an hour away from Clovis. So my daughter plays softball, and every year they had this tournament in Clovis. So we went last year, and so we went to this restaurant. It was just like Clovis is a very, very small town. Okay. Very small town. So it's like basically the old town Clovis is maybe like 2 blocks. And so we were looking for some place to eat, and we went into, I don't even know what you would call it. It wasn't a dive bar, but it was like this small bar that had just like what's the fancy word for it? I think a gastro pub, maybe something like that, right? So we go in there, and I went to go pay with my card, and I had a card that had the Dodgers logo. It had the Dodgers affinity on it, and the waitress looks at me and she goes, "Really?" So she was giving me a hard time for being a Dodger fan because she was a San Francisco Giants fan. Now, I did not notice this, but as I'm paying, I look up, and there's a giant San Francisco Giants logo right underneath, right above from where I'm sitting, right?
How
She
apropos.
exactly. She's pointing at me, and she's sitting there and going, "Yeah, this is Giants country." So she was giving me a hard time, but she was great. She was a great waitress. So we go back this weekend, and we're sitting there all with all the players' parents. Hey, let's go out to dinner. And we're like, hey, why don't we go to Neighbors where we went last year? So we show up, we walk in, and there's that waitress. It's the same waitress from last year, right? And she recognizes us. She comes and she says hi. She seats us in the same section where we sat last year, where I placed my order. She comes and brings me my drink, and unbeknownst to me, she put a little note on the inside of the drink, and it said, "Go Giants." And I immediately just could not stop laughing because I thought it was so great. So this
You actually sent me a picture, and in it you are laughing. Like it's not you posing with the cup. It is literally you mid laugh looking at the cup.
absolutely. I just thought it was so funny. Now, this is where I need your guys' help. This is where, Amy, I need you to chime in. Was that the was that the correct reaction? Was for me to laugh, or should I have been one of those hard asses and got all mad and been like, "How dare you put any Giant stuff on here? I'm Dodgers all the way." What was the correct reaction? Because I shared that photo with some other people, and some of the responses were, "Don't drink that, dude. She's gonna poison you." And I'm just like, Amy, how would you have reacted in that situation?
I would have probably done exactly what you did. I would have laughed. I am, as you know, I hate smack talking in baseball, and I don't mean like casual ribbing. I don't like when people are negative with other people because I feel like if I love my team or if you love your team as much as I love my team, like how can you go wrong? You need two teams to play. And I think living in Northern California and getting so much crap for being a Dodger fan for so many years, like it just turned me off to all of the smack talking. So for me, I would have 100% laughed because she didn't have to do that. Whether she meant it maliciously or not, which I doubt she did. Like it's just a it's a shared moment between two people. Like I think it's hilarious and good for her for putting in the effort. But, I'm sure other people are going to have their opinion. Guys, feel free to let us know in the comments. Like let us know what you guys think.
Yes, please let me know in the comments how you would have reacted if a waitress came and put a little note on your drink saying "Go Giants." She was great, and I mean, we were just going back and forth, giving each other a hard time about being Dodgers and Giants fans. And at the end of the night, she was just like, "Don't forget my tip," and I was like, "Oh, don't worry, yeah, you're gonna get a tip." So I thought it was so great that she remembered. I mean, this was a year ago. And the fact that she not only remembered me, but she remembered that I was a Dodgers fan, I thought, as my friend says, that's excellent customer service. I did tip her well, so I do appreciate, and I can't wait to go back if we go back next year to see her again and see what else she comes up with, or maybe I'll get her back this time. But that
Bring her some swag or something. I mean, that's just a shared moment between humans. I think that's awesome. And they've got to pay for Matt Chapman now, so you're just helping her buy tickets for future games.
exactly. So that was my weekend. How was your weekend?
It was good. Watched a lot of baseball, went to the beach, listened to baseball there, brought my radio. So, baseball, baseball, baseball.
Okay, so before we get into this baseball, because when we last left you, the Dodgers played a lot of games. So there's a lot of stuff that we want to get into. But before we get into that, I do want to just recognize that it is Women's History Month. And being that this is the first week in March that we actually have shows, I just want to make a brief comment. And I know that if you guys watched our pilot episode, or listen to our pilot episode, a lot of this stuff is something that I've already said. But when Amy approached me about doing this show, I was very happy. I was very excited because I enjoy hanging out with Amy and I enjoy being able to talk about the Dodgers. But at the same time, it was also very important to me because I feel that women's voices in sports are important and should be heard more of. There are a lot of female Dodger fans that I know out there, and they are very knowledgeable, and I just enjoy seeing their perspective because there's a lot of times that they look at things in a way that I never saw. So I am glad that we are able to celebrate Women's History Month, and I am glad that on this program, on Baseball Shangri-La, you are going to have a consistent female perspective. Look, I know that there's a lot of Dodger podcasts out there, guys, and there are some that do have female voices on it. But a lot of these are male-dominated programs, and I would love to have more women listen to our show, and if they listen to it because Amy's on, then we're all better for it. But I am very proud of the fact that when you listen to baseball or watch Baseball Shangri-La, you will always see female representation on this program. I'm getting off my soapbox now, Amy. What does Women History Month mean to you?
I mean, I think this was something that was important to us both, right? Like I wanted to be able to have that voice out there, and being able to co-host a show with you and talk baseball just gives us both a platform to share what we love so much. I definitely celebrate the fact that we have a Women's History Month, but it's a little bit bittersweet. The fact that we have to have a Women's History Month, and we're making progress. We're seeing that change. We talk about it, but just hoping that we can get farther along with that. I'm so grateful for the women who came before me, who opened up doors so that I can be in the clubhouse, I can be in the dugout. Like, those women really had a lot of obstacles to overcome. We still have more to go, but look where we are right now. Jenny Kavner had another article posted last week about her, because she is going to be the Oakland A's the first female play-by-play primary person in the MLB. And a lot of the article talks about, the first female being able to do this, and, the doors that are opening. And I just, she mentions that, she just wants to work hard and do a great job. And she takes pride in achieving another important first female attribution. She also looks forward to a day when such a hire becomes less of a national headline and more of a normality. And I really just, that resonated with me, because I feel the same way. Like, let's celebrate all these amazing things, the women we have in the front office, the women who are in media, but also, like, let's make it so that this is more of a regular thing, so that we don't have to celebrate it, if that makes sense. Like, the best of both worlds. But yeah, so happy Women's History Month.
Absolutely. Look, it's important to us, and we want to share it to you. Hopefully, you feel the same way. Let's digress into some baseball stuff. There was a lot of baseball. There was a lot of games the Dodgers have played since, I think, Thursday. We haven't been able to cover any of those games, so we're going to get into it now. I mean, this team And I know it's spring training, and we shouldn't really put that much emphasis in terms of record, but they're 9-2. I am surprised because a lot of these victories that the Dodgers have had in the Cactus League have been come from behind victories. They've been late in games, and it's been the B team. It's been the minor leaguers that have been pulling this team through. So there's a lot of stuff that I want to comment, but I want to start off first. So the Dodgers early Monday announced their first round of cuts. And as you guys all know, I'm part of the Stalloner's Club. So that is why this episode is called Dodgers First Blood, because we had our first blood that was spilled, was spilled here. And so do you have the people that were cut in the first round of cuts, Amy?
Yeah, so we're actually down to 50 players at the major league camp. So the ones that got optioned were right-handed pitchers Landon Knack, Ricky Vanasco, Nick Frasso, catchers Hunter Fiducia, Diego Cartaya, and then outfielder Andy Pajes, which has been just a kerfuffle all over social media. And then as far as the ones that got reassigned to minor league camp, that was left-handed pitcher Steven Gonzalez, right-handed pitchers Jesse Hahn, Michael Peterson, Eduardo Salazar, and then River Ryan, and then outfielder Travis Swaggerty. So it seems like Landon Knack and Andy Pajes are the ones that are getting the most like ire from the social media.
And I just want to point something out here, because just because some of these got reassigned to minor league camp, that doesn't mean they can't play in Cactus League games. So it's not like we're never going to see these guys again. But yeah, these guys aren't going to be making the opening day roster. And if we're being honest with ourselves, I don't think that's a surprise to anyone. You mentioned the two big names, Amy, Landon Knack and Andy Pajes. Landon Knack, I think we all knew was going to go ahead and start the season in the minor leagues. The Andy Pajes, yes, he's had a great spring, but let's be honest. Let's be realistic. The guy is still coming back from an injury. But one of the things that I tend to forget, and this is why I want to remind everyone, I believe he's only played one game in Double-A.
Correct.
Correct. Okay.
Or no, wasn't it one game in Triple A?
Did he?
Before
Okay.
he went out?
Here we got a candidate already for base running blunders. We
Yeah.
will go ahead and double check that. But obviously, he needs. Look, it's going to be a benefit to him. This guy needs to be playing every day. And if he made the opening day roster, I still feel if he made the opening day roster, it's because something went horribly wrong. And that was there was an injury to one of the outfielders. I still believe that he is going to be the first call up. As long as he stays healthy and he hits down in the minor leagues, if anything goes wrong with the big league club, I do think Andy Pajes will be the first call up. But there might be a debate, because I know Miguel Vargas has been playing outfield. But for me, Andy Pajes has looked better than Miguel Vargas. What are you seeing from Miguel Vargas, Amy?
I mean, he hit a home run in the I'm trying to keep all these games straight. So we had the game against Cleveland on Friday where we won 6-4. And Gauthier got a grand slam in that one. Then we had a split squad game on Saturday. Chicago, the Cubs came to the stadium, played, Yarbrough started. Then we also played a split squad at the Milwaukee Brewers complex, won that one 11-3. And I think it was in that game at the Milwaukee complex that Vargas actually got a home run. So I know he's getting a lot of flack for not producing as much, but I also think he's transitioning to a left field position that is not natural to him. And, he's still trying to find his stride. And I don't know what kind of head trash he's dealing with from last year, trying to get back into the game, trying to make a good impression. I can't even imagine what that feels like. So, I mean, he obviously hasn't had as great of a spring training as like Pajes has, but what are you seeing from him?
I just feel Andy Pajes looks much more comfortable at the plate. I think he's making better contact than Miguel Vargas, and that's what's been surprising to me. And maybe that's what we have with Andy Pajes. He's had it all along. It's just health has his big concern. Or maybe we just have, unrealistic expectations with Miguel Vargas. I just feel when it comes in terms of the plate, like I don't know if his follow through on his swing. I don't know if he's working. And that's the other thing that we have to take into account. It is spring training. So Miguel Vargas may be going up to the plate specifically trying to work on something. And as a result, that's why he's not getting results. Andy Paches doesn't look like he's working on anything. Like Andy Paches looks like he's walking up to the plate and he is just like see ball, hit ball. Like that home run that he hit over the weekend was just a shot. I was watching it with my daughter, and even my daughter was just like, damn, like you just hear the contact off the bat, right? So, look, things could completely change. I still expect Miguel Vargas to start the season down in AAA. But I understand why people were upset that Andy Pajes was part of the first cut. But at the same time, let's be realistic, guys. I think eventually everyone thought he would make the last round of cuts. But again, this doesn't mean we're not going to continue to see Andy Pajes. I think the problem is if Andy Pajes continues to play in Cactus League games and he keeps smashing the way he is, more and more fans are going to be like, because we saw it immediately. This guy needs to be on the roster. He needs to be on the roster. Look, it's the first couple of weeks of spring training, guys. Let's see what Andy Pajes looks like when the starters start to get stretched out and he's facing a higher level of pitching.
He's
But
also still fairly new too. So like while he's getting his legs under him hitting, not everybody's used to seeing him where, Vargas has been around for at least a year. So there's tape on him. People know a little bit more of what's going on. And to save you from a base running blunder for next time, he did play one game at the AAA level. He played 33, and by he I mean Andy Pajes. He played 33 at the AA level. So it was the one AAA game that he played in.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate the save there, partner.
I got you.
We also got to see a debut last week, and that was James Paxton. We saw James Paxton for the first time with the Dodgers when they were playing the Reds. And, so he went 2 innings. He only gave up 2 hits. He did give up a run. It was earned. But what I was impressed with, he had 4 Ks in that 2 innings of work. And this is a dude that, again, a lot has been made up of the fact, his health, if he can stay healthy. I was not aware that he threw as hard as he throws. If he can continue to do that, then I think to have that guy as a back end rotation guy, and I know a lot of his injuries were not to the arm, so that's also encouraging. But like everything, I think we're going to hear this a lot, is if this dude can stay healthy, it's going to be a big contribution. And in a lot of ways, when you look at his contract, this may be a steal for the Dodgers, but it was his first time out. But I think he looked good. I mean, 4 Ks is nothing in 2 innings of work is nothing to turn your head away from.
Yeah, he faced 8 batters. I think in that respect, that's going to be the chess game that the front office is going to be playing all season, right? Is you can't go a season without injuries, and we don't want our players to get hurt, but even just fatigue in general. So if he's in there and he can spell people, whether it's he's going in as a starter and he's going late into innings, or we're piggybacking him, depending on how that works out, not too shabby for a first start for a debut in the Cactus League.
Yeah, and then we had another pitcher make his second outing of the season, and that was Tyler Glasnow. I know with his first outing, it was a little shaky in terms of his location. It felt like, he was leaving the ball over the plate, and as a result, there was a lot of hard contact by the Angels on Glasnow. But I think it was a very different story in this outing against the Guardians. He went 3 innings. I'm very encouraged by the fact that he got stretched out to 3 innings. He had a walk, but 5 Ks. I mean, this is again, if this is the Tyler Glasnow the Dodgers are going to get, it's the potential of what this team could be is what we saw on display when you see Yamamoto and then you see Glasnow, where it's like, oh my gosh, these guys are going to be the ones at the top of your rotation. It's got to be very, very encouraging for everyone at Dodgers camp.
I can't wait to see that in person. Like, I want to see these guys. Like, I want to get my eyes on them. Like, it's great to see them on TV, but like to just be there and see it, see how they look. Because I mean, this is our new starting rotation. We've had, typically it's like it's been Kirsch, Bueller, all our more of our like historical guys, our legacy guys, and so starting out this season with newer people until we can get Kirsch and Bueller back, like it's going to be exciting to see how they perform.
Let's get into some more of these game notes here, Amy. Actually, before we get into the game notes, there was another bit of news aside from the cuts that took place here on Monday. The Dodgers made a trade. They acquired an infielder from the Tigers of Detroit. Now, I want to spare myself from another base running blunder. Do you have any clue how to pronounce his last name?
No, but I'm looking at like Lipschitz.
I'm waiting. I was hoping. See, I was afraid that I was going to say the Dodgers acquired Andrew Lipschitz but it's not Lipschitz. It's is it
And we could
Lipsch?
it's Lipcius. So it looks like Lipschitz to me, but I'm sure we'll do our homework. We'll get you guys the pronunciation on it, so you guys don't have to hear us so you don't have to hear us butcher it.
For the interest of entertainment and my own peace of mind here, Andre Lipschitz is what I'm going to call him until we can find what the correct. And Amy's totally rolling her eyes at me. Until we can get the correct pronunciation. The Dodgers got him for cash, but what I think is most interesting about this is, he takes up a spot in the 40-man roster, and as a result, the Dodgers moved Clayton Kershaw to the 60-man. To the 60-day, IL. There were two moves that the Dodgers had prior to this acquisition that they could do, and that was move Kershaw to the 60-day IL, and then I believe, correct me, keep me honest here, Amy. I don't think they've moved Nick Frasso to the 60-day yet.
No, he's one of the ones who just got reassigned. So as far as getting reassigned, they didn't say reassigned and then moved to.
So the Dodgers still, they got that in their back pocket. But in terms of Andre, he was DFA'd by the Tigers. And it looks like the word on him is he can play multiple positions. And that's exactly what the Dodgers love. So it looks like this is a guy who's going to probably move around the diamond. He has a very good walk rate, which is something the Dodgers love also. So the fact if he has a good walk rate, I think what that just means is that he has good plate discipline. He can track pitches well. Whether he can hit pitches, that's a different story. But I think this is just more of a depth thing. I think the Dodgers can never have enough depth.
Well, and I haven't dove like too deep into the stats yet, but I mean, he's only played in the majors for 1 year, which was last year. He was in 13 games. He scored 3 runs and 35 at bats, 10 hits. He's got a 286 batting average. As far as what he did in the minors, not 100% sure on that. Like I said, I'd have to dive more into the stats, but I mean, if it's just more infield depth that we're looking for, we're definitely getting it there. We're bolstering it.
We talked about this last week when Yamamoto made his debut, and because in particular, Rick Monday called us out on the broadcast, and that was the fear that Yamamoto would be tipping pitches because of the way he held his glove, and then you could see the grip. Were you the one who sent me the picture of that? It was clearly it's a splitter.
Yeah, he's like gripping you can see both of his fingers on either side of it. That's the one I was watching in the broadcast, and it was just like, wow, that's clear as day.
Well, Mark Breyer, the Dodgers pitching coach, obviously was asked the question, and the Dodgers are not concerned that Yamamoto is going to be tipping pitches. So I don't know if that means the Dodgers are that confident in Yamamoto's stuff that it doesn't matter whether they know what's coming, they still got to hit it, or they have a plan to address this fear. But I don't think that we're going to see that until he makes more starts during the regular season. Once there is more tape on him, I am curious to see if that changes anything. But the Dodgers don't seem to be concerned about that.
Well, and to be fair, I mean, I have to go back to my notes, but I think didn't nobody really get to second, or if they did, they quickly hit into a double play. So like it's not like the majority of the batters he faced would have even been trying to read what was in his glove. They didn't get there.
Right.
So
And that
barring the potential double play, if I'm remembering correctly, like that would be the only one player.
And that is the fear, of course, is that once there's runners on base, in particular, if there's a runner on second, what are they going to be able to convey to the hitter with Yamamoto when Yamamoto's on the mound?
But the potential is there for if he has a runner on second, that may not be how he's holding his glove at that point. And we don't know. We don't have a big enough sample size that even like, maybe normally I hold my glove right here, but if I have someone on base, I'm going to bring it in a little closer. We just don't know.
And that's what I heard a lot of. It was like, it doesn't matter if there's nobody on base. He doesn't have to deal with this problem. So he is going to be making his second start this week. So we'll be able to see if anybody else we'll be able to see if anybody gets to second base on Yamamoto here. So we'll be able to see what he looks like. Very excited to see him make his second start of the spring training. We talked about this individual earlier in a few episodes, and that was Gavin Stone. I thought at the beginning of spring training that Gavin Stone was for sure going to start in the minor leagues.
I thought you were going to talk about a different Gavin. I had different notes ready. Go.
We're gonna talk about that, Gavin. I want to talk about Gavin Stone before we get to that, Gavin. Gavin Stone to me has looked very, very good. There was one little rough inning, but like I said, I don't that seemed like some bad luck. He didn't get much help there. But what was discovered this past weekend, and I had brought it up saying, hey, dude, he looks like a man. He looks like he put on weight. He looks like he has muscles. And it turns out that the way he put on weight was he ate a lot of Chipotle. And I think he's trying to get an endorsement deal out of Chipotle. So if Gavin Stone gets that, good for him. Here's the thing that I find even more interesting is the fact that Emmett Sheehan, we still haven't seen Emmett Sheehan in any games. I know that he was recovering from body soreness. I am now starting to think, Amy, that Gavin Stone now he has a much better chance of making this roster because, again, we're just a little over 2 weeks away from the Dodgers going to Korea. Now, they're not going to need Emmett Sheehan in Korea, but now that I think the clock is starting to speed up a little bit, I don't know if Emmett Sheehan is going to be ready by the time they return to the States and that portion of their schedule starts. So I think it's starting to look much and much better that what we're going to see in terms of a rotation is we're going to, at least to start the year, is you're going to have Yamamoto, Glasnow, Bobby Miller, Paxton, and Gavin Stone's going to be your fifth starter with probably Michael Grove piggybacking.
Yeah, and I mean he had a 150. He has a 159 ERA. Like Stone is doing great. He did say in regard to the Chipotle thing that basically he can't keep the weight on during this season. So I guess he'll be eating twice as much. Maybe we have a new food vendor at Dodger Stadium come the season. We can all get that. What is it? The lime cilantro rice.
Oh, that is pretty good, isn't it?
Oh my God. Now I think I know what I'm having for dinner.
Yeah, that lime is that's pretty good.
But he did get stretched out. He went, 3 innings. He only got 2 hits. He got a strikeout, but nobody managed to score on him. Like he keeps coming out and he's doing a great job. Grove had a little rougher outing. He went 2 1/3 innings, 2 hits, 3 runs, scored on him, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. But again, going back to kind of what we've been saying for the last couple episodes, it's spring training. Like these guys are just getting stretched out. They're getting used to this. Some people are going to have great moments. Those are going to be like your Andy Pajes and so on. And then other people might just be working on stuff just to get in the groove because that's ultimately what we're trying to do.
No, absolutely. Some other game notes that I want to, because I know a lot of people were making a big deal about this prospect in the Dodgers organization, and that is Josue de Paula. I know that on the broadcast they were calling him Josu, but I believe Josue is the correct pronunciation, but that may be another nominee for base running blunders, but this kid is 18 years old and he hit a home run. And I've already been hearing stuff about him last year. I still think he's a ways away, but it was nice to see him hit a home run and get on people sitting there go, oh, this is why. This is why they seem pretty high on him.
I mean, I saw the play-by-play afterwards where they highlighted the home run, but I mean, good for him coming into a game, like, knocking one out, like, these guys are all doing great. Paez got a 3-run home run on Saturday, so did, Josue, Vargas, Outman, Padlo, like, these guys are all, like, they're getting into the groove, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, and then that kinda leads us into somebody who's had back and forth on social media, Gavin Lux. You hear some people who are not so high on the horse on him, and then you hear other people who are like, "Give him time, like, let him" again, he didn't play all last year, like, let the man just get into his stride.
Look, he's looked good at the plate. I think Gavin Lux has looked really good at the plate. The poor guy, the minute they hit the first ball to him at shortstop and it resulted as an error, and then they hit another ball to him and it resulted in another error, you knew it was coming. And I don't want to get too much into the weeds on this one, Amy, because I do feel like this is going to be an ongoing conversation. The fact defensively, the left side of the Dodgers infield, I know a lot of Dodger fans, and I hear this from a lot of them, are very concerned about Muncy at third and Gavin Lux at short. And I mean, they're already writing articles about it. I don't want to go, like I said, too much into the weeds on this because I do believe this is going to be an ongoing conversation. But like I said, look, he's looked good at the plate, and I feel like that's why he's there. He's there because of his bat. He's not there because of his glove. And I still believe that Miguel Rojas will be a late inning defensive replacement for him. But watch this space. This is going to be a story that I feel probably every time we have an episode of Baseball Shangri-La, we're going to be talking about Gavin Lux's glove or Max Muncy's glove.
I mean, I don't think you're wrong. I mean, Lux did go 3 for 4 on Saturday. He had a good game. He is gonna make some mistakes. Like again, yes, I get that this is where they're gonna be doing a lot of the training. It's spring training, but it's what are we gonna do? Are you gonna have him replaced with Rojas permanently? Are we just like giving up on him, or are we gonna let him try to earn his spot at shortstop, where that's pretty much what the front office has said they're going to do. They are confident in his abilities. They're going to let him play there. We have people who can spell him. Like, I think at this point, I mean, whoever can complain all they want, but this is who the front office is putting their confidence in at the moment. So it is what it is.
You know, you mentioned him earlier on the players that got reassigned. Diego Cartaya having a back issue. Look, in terms of spring training, I think, especially at the beginning of spring training, I don't think it's uncommon for players to have injuries. So I don't know if this is much ado about nothing. We're making a big deal about this. But I am concerned only in this sense and I think this is the same thing that you could say about Miguel Vargas. I feel like Cartaya and Vargas needed to have strong springs just to quiet the doubters, so to speak, or to reinforce the Dodgers' belief in these players that these are players that can continue to develop. And I know Cartaya was hurt before in previous seasons, so I'm really hoping not for this poor guy's sake, that he just doesn't become an injured, riddled player. A back injury, a back issue. I mean, ask Clayton Kershaw. That's like no joke. That's not something. I'm hoping in his case it does go away. But whenever I hear about back issues, I always get concerned about if it's going to be an ongoing issue for this guy, because
Especially because he's a catcher. I mean,
yeah.
That's a lot of up and down. I mean, he's still, if you look at Fangraphs, Diego Cartaya is still listed as he's ranked 3rd. So he's behind Dalton Rushing and River Ryan.
And in terms of prospects.
The Dodgers top prospects. So not in all of baseball, but just for the Dodgers, he's still ranked 3rd. So
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, I hope this is just it's a common flare up. I don't hope. I hope he doesn't miss significant time because I know he struggled last year. I want to be able to see what this guy does. I want to see him have an opportunity to prove himself. Because there was a point where he was like the talk of the Dodgers prospect, and now it seems like his reputation has taken a dip. So it's something to keep an eye on.
But that's something
Uh,
I think not I say but like I'm arguing. I think it's something that we do see in spring training. Like Miguel Vargas got injured last year. Like he got wrapped on the I think it was the knuckles, and we don't know if that impacted the rest
right.
of his season. Pepio, we didn't even see him till late in the season because he had that oblique injury. So whether these guys are getting stretched out or not, things can happen. It can take them out of play, and it takes them a long time to recover. Whether you're a rookie coming up trying to prove yourself or you're a veteran, like it can happen to anybody. I mean, we're still hoping that Muncie's okay. It looks like he had that contusion when he got hit the other day. I mean, hopefully that's not going to impact anything, but these guys are human. They're not superhuman. So I really do hope it turns around for Cartaya, for Vargas, for all of them.
Absolutely. So before we wrap things up, I didn't want to spend a lot of time on this story because it was just when I saw the story, it made my eyes roll. But I do want to get your opinion on this, Amy, and that is Shohei Ohtani announcing that he was married. And when the story broke, part of me was just like, I get that this is news. I really do get this is news, especially because, again, he's the one that delivered the news. He's the one that broke the news. He announced it. But there was a part of me that was just like, do we need to know this? I mean, and again, I get it. He's the one sharing it. But I don't know if you saw this online, the immediate speculation that because he didn't give many more details, he just said that he was married, the rampant rumors, and I'm just like, come on, people, are we doing this? And stuff like that. Look, the guy, I think we lose sight of the fact the guy's been in Major League Baseball for 6 years. He is obviously, this is part of his maturity, it's part of his growth. Like he's becoming, I don't want to say he's becoming an adult, but he's reached a point in his life where I have my career, I'm pretty established in my career, and now I want to be married. And I mean, what was your reaction to the fact that everybody was literally, you had beat writers like giving like a normal, what was it, that's what caught me. What were they saying, Amy? A normal, that his wife was a normal person.
Well, and I think that harkens back to it's a cultural thing. So I think one of the articles I read was actually stating that in Japan there's a designation between like a normal person versus a famous person. So I don't know if that lends itself to the translation that came out or just how the information was conveyed in general. Honestly, I was happy for the guy. Good for him. Also, great secret keeper. Like amazing. Because if he's been dating this person for 3 to 4 years, nobody knew on the Angels, or if they did, they kept the secret well. But while I think it's his news to share if he wants to share it, and if he's trying to get ahead of people, poking into his life, good for him. I think for me, at the end of the day, this is one of those things where, like, you know me, there's certain things I'll get hyped up about, and there's other things where it's like, I'm happy for the guy. Good for him. I hope him and his partner are very happy.
You bring up a very excellent point. I think we talk about the fact that he can be a pitcher and that he hits, his ability to keep secrets. I mean, are we not sure that maybe Shohei is a spy? I mean, he just has this tremendous ability to keep information under wraps.
I don't think I can roll my eyes harder at you right now.
All I'm
I'm just, you know what though? Like for him to share when he wanted to share, good for him. But like these are also aspects of his life that he doesn't have to share. If he's just trying to get ahead of the curve, good for him. But like we are not entitled to any of these players' information. If Mookie wants to go out and bowl, let the man bowl. He gets to do what he wants. Like any of these guys they have lives. Yes, they are baseball players. Yes, they are famous, but we are not entitled to all of this information. And if he chose to share it, I think at the very least we can all just be happy for the guy. I know you as a newly minted Shohei, I'm sure you were very devastated, but I have faith that you'll be able to move on.
I don't know if I eye rolled as hard as you eye roll at me, but when I saw all of this, I was just like, really, man, is this like, good for him. And like I said, he's the one who who broke the news. He chose to share the news with us. I know immediately I saw people like, oh, TMC's probably going to try to get a picture of her now and all that stuff. So that's the kind of stuff where it's like, that's not necessary.
It sucked to be him in some aspects because I truly think he was trying to get ahead of the curve. Like he knows it's gonna break at some point. I want to do it on my timetable, but like you've said before, like he can't just show up to his teammates like events and just be there and hang out with the guys. Like he he is for all intents and purposes very isolated. So I'm glad he has a person to share that with, but like let the man be happy.
No, you're look, to me, it's a wonderful example that if you want something to be a secret, it can be a secret. Like when you see celebrities and you're like, every single part of their life, and then I always go back to, do you know anything about Harvey Keitel? Do you know anything about Steve Buscemi? Like, there's certain actors out there that they want their life to be private, so they keep it private, or
Are
famous people.
Are you shocked though? Look at how he handled even just the team signing. He wanted silence from all the people he was courting. This isn't new. It shouldn't be a surprise. This is how he handled it. And I know we're going to talk in our next episode about Dave Roberts, but that's a point of what we'll be discussing. And in his exuberance, he shared some details about trying to sign Shohei, and that was the antithesis of what Ohtani wanted. So I mean, he's very private.
Absolutely. And we already spent much more time than I wanted to on this story, but I wanted to acknowledge it. But Amy, do you have anything else, any last words before we end the show today?
No, unfortunately, I don't.
All right. So again, here's the reminder, guys. If you've been listening to us on the audio version on the podcast, you want to help us spread the word, rate us, write us a review, subscribe to the podcast. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the notification button, give us a thumbs up, go ahead and leave us comments. Let us know about my Clovis dilemma. How would you have reacted if someone put a Go Giants note on your drink? Make sure you follow us on social media. On X, you can follow us at BB Shangri-La. On Instagram, Threads, and Twitch, you can follow us at Baseball Shangri-La. That's going to do it for this episode of Baseball Shangri-La. She is Amy Cuevas, and I am Juan Ramirez. Amy, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye, people.